Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Old Tavern Farm. It is a beautiful September day here in Zone 5B in the southern tier of the Adirondack Mountains of New York State. I am standing here in front of a huge clump of my elderberry, and today is the day. Today is the day that I am going to finally make a year's supply of elderberry syrup using local honey and these beautiful elderberries. So the first thing that I like to do is I like to make sure that I've got a clump of elderberry that is big and beautiful and absolutely dark brown, dark black, no greens in there. And then I'm going to take them inside and get the berries off of these dark red stems. If I'll get my camera to focus here. These dark red stems right here, we want to remove the berries from the stems. Okay, so elderberry is wonderful. It is full of vitamins and nutrients. It's great for your immune system. I like it for my joints, for my joint health, because I do struggle with that. And it's just great all around tonic that I'm going to be taking by the little bit of a teaspoon each day, and then more when I'm suffering from a cold or the flu. So this morning I'm going to focus on harvesting from the elderberry. I'm going to take these inside. I'm going to get into a bunch of grubby clothes because this stuff is really, it stains like crazy. It'll wash up, but I want to get my grubby clothes on. And I'm going to go ahead and make a batch of elderberry syrup. Then I'm also going to harvest some elderberries and dry them in my dehydrator. And then I'm going to be making elderberry tincture from that. That will be a different video, but I'm going to go ahead and start gathering in these berries before the birds get them. And come with me and we'll get started. I just harvested these beautiful elderberries from my elderberry patch, and you guys have seen that outside. These guys are all ready to harvest. They're deep, dark. There's only like one or two little green ones in here. You don't want the green ones. And I'm going to go ahead and scrape off the berries off of the stem using a fork. So I'm scraping all of these berries into this pot right here, and I'm going to cook down the syrup. Once I get these berries scraped off, we'll go over to the stove and I will carry on from there. But I just want you guys to understand, you cannot eat these berries raw, okay? I've seen people say, oh, give them to your chickens, they're raw. You know what? If you want to do that, experiment, see what works. I just wouldn't do it. The wild birds can do what they want to do because there's no stopping them anyway. And you cannot eat these berries fresh. They do have a small amount of cyanide in them, along with the stems and leaves. The berries have to come off the stems, and you have to cook the berries for at least 30 minutes, and that's what we're going to do when we make jam, jelly. Actually, I wouldn't make jam, I would make jelly and my medicinal syrup. I'm also using a tried and true recipe. This is from Rosemary Gladstar's medicinal herbs. And I do a lot of my own experimentation, but when it comes to this type of thing, I want somebody that I trust. This is a great book. I have looked through this for years. I've had this for about 5 years, and it is a great book. Okay, so I have filled my pot with elderberries. My hands are stained. And this is my discard bowl, okay? So I'm just gonna compost this material. I'm gonna get this on the stove and I'm gonna let it simmer with about a half a cup of water in here for about 30 minutes. Now, if you get some of the smaller stems, some of these like very small stems, that's okay. I try to get rid of these big twigs and that type of thing just because there's a lot of cyanogenic glycoside, which is cyanide, in these bigger, larger twigs and branches, leaves. You know, you can work with the flowers, but the rest of it you have to stick with the ripe berries, and you have to try to get rid of as much of the stems as you can. But these smaller, tiny little twigs, that that cyanide compound will be neutralized by cooking, so you're okay. All right, let's go to the stove. Okay, so I just strained out the plant material, and then I can give that plant material to my chickens when it's cooked. So here I'm going to take the juice that I've rendered out of the plant material, out of the berries. Okay, so I'm going to reduce that down, and then we're going to go from there. So I have boiled the syrup, the sauce, the juice, down to 1 pint. It's still kind of steaming and warm. To this cooling juice, I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. So in Rosemary Gladstar's recipe, she calls for fresh ginger root and ground cloves, and I don't have any fresh ginger root, and frankly I'm not really crazy about ginger. It kind of takes over everything. But these are all really warming, healthful spices. They're all antibacterial, they're all antiviral, they all help the immune system, they all help create a little bit of heat in your body when you're not feeling well. So these are great, and they will go now into the, I don't want to cook them, I want to have them be fresh so that all their constituents can help my body when I go to take this syrup. Okay, so I have 2 cups of syrup here, and I've got also 2 cups of raw local honey. This is not our honey, but this comes from an apiary that's just about 2 miles from here. So what you want to do is add equal parts honey to the juice that you've boiled down. So if you have 4 cups of juice, add 4 cups of honey, etc. 1 cup of juice, 1 cup of honey. Okay, so I'm gonna just go ahead and add this. Seems like a lot, but again, this is something that I'm gonna be taking by the teaspoon myself. Again, I'm not a doctor, as I've said before. I have spent several years really diving into herbalism and herbal medicine and what food can do for our bodies to keep our bodies healthy. That's why we eat real food here and take real medicine. But we are very healthy people, so we are fortunate not to have to take any medicines. But anyway, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to let that honey dissolve into, you don't want to heat your raw honey because again that takes the potency out of the constituents that are in the honey that are health giving. And so basically that is it. That is our elderberry syrup for the next, probably until the new year, about 3 months, 12 weeks or so. I am going to keep it in the refrigerator, and also this very small bit of apple brandy that's left in the bottom will help keep it preserved. Might add a little nice kick to it. And so there we are. And I hope you guys go ahead and try your own. You can order dried elderberries online, and then you just use them. They've already been heat treated. The drying heat treats the berries so that you don't have to worry about the cyanide content. So they'll be ready to go. So give it a try. Thanks so much for visiting. Big hugs. See you next time.